Welcome to part 1 of a 2-part tutorial series. Today we're going to look at how to create a database using a computer program. And to help us, we're going to be using this data as displayed in Microsoft Access. We're going to be focusing on 4 fields: the type field, the description field, the price field, and the number in stock field. The question is, how can we store this data in a computer program? Well, one approach is to store each field in an array. So we'll have a type array with 14 elements. We'll have a description array, which will also have 14 elements. We'll have a price array, which will have 14 elements, and we'll have a number in stock array, which will also have 14 elements. So all of the arrays will have the same length. Okay, now before we get started with Python, I just want to explain a couple of things. First of all, make sure you have a project folder and that you have a copy of the CSV file in your project folder. So this is the CSV file, and this is my Python file. Secondly, if you're using Replit, you want to make sure that you upload the CSV file into your project area, and then your code will be able to read that file. Okay? So we're going to look at some starter code. Here it is. I'm going to show you it in idle. Don't be afraid of it. It does look complicated. You don't need to understand it. I'll try to explain what it does. So we've set up 4 empty arrays. Then we're going to open the CSV file, and Python is going to process each row of the file and push the data into the arrays. So there's the types array being processed. There's the descriptions array being processed, the prices array, and the numbers in stock. So hopefully, after all of this runs, we will have data stored in these arrays. In fact, let's see if it works. For in range, len, let's just say len types, they're all the same length. All of those arrays are the same length. So it doesn't really matter. We're just going to print. Let's use F. Let's go to the types array and just print out each individual element. Okay, so when I is 0, we'll print out the first element in the types array, etc., etc. So let's run that and see if it works. Yay, there you go. So this is my types array. Now let's continue this with some spaces. No, I'm not going to use spaces today. I'm going to use a tab to separate my output. Next, we're going to display the contents of the descriptions array. And then we'll have a tab, and we'll display the contents of the prices array. And the final tab, and we will display the contents of the numbers in stock array. Okay, so let's make sure we've got our spelling right. And let's run it and see what we've got. Fantastic! So really, we've managed to store and display data stored in these 4 arrays. Here's the types array. Input, input, output, 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 input, input. Here's the descriptions array, the description of the device which is for sale. Here we have the price array, and here we have the numbers in stock array. Okay, so let's write a little computer program. I'm going to count the number of input devices. So I need a variable to store the result. I'm going to use a for loop, a count controlled loop, to process the arrays. And I'm going to say if. Now remember, the input-output is in the types array. This tells us what kind of device it is, input or output. So if types I is the same as the word input, we will increment the count by 1. And then we will update, we'll display the result. So again, let's use f. There are count input devices. Okay, so let's run that and see if it works. Whoa, there are 7 input devices. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, there are 7 input devices. Okay. Just going to adapt my program a little bit. This time, I'm going to ask the user to choose if they want to count input devices or output devices. What do you want to count? Input or output? What kind of devices do you want to count, input or output? So I want the user to input a word, and only this one or this one, no other words. So we need a bit of data validation. While choice doesn't equal input, and choice doesn't equal output, we're just going to ask them to re-enter. Okay, so invalid. Try again. Okay, so the user enters input or output. Then we go through the types array. And we say if types I is the same as, well, it's not input this time. We're going to change that to be the user's choice. We will increment the count. And there are count, and it's not input devices this time because we don't know what the user entered. It's choice devices. So let's run that and see what's going on. What kind of device do you want to, let's do input. Okay, oh yeah, spelling mistake. Well, my validation works, that's good. There are 7 input devices. Now I'm just going to run it one more time, and we'll do it for output and just see if it works properly. Oh, there are 7 output devices. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, there are.